I had no idea how much stress I was under in law enforcement.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do this with you is
Mhm.
because I think that you have really um, softened. And I don't know if it's as you
Mm.
and I have gotten to know each other, but like you're much more kind of more approachable now than you were when I first
Yeah.
met you. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video series with you is because I was just having a conversation with you one day at your kitchen table. And one of the things that we like to do is make fun of each other, poke at each other. And I'll say to you sometimes, don't poke the bear, Justin, because you're trying to get
Yeah.
my goat or something. And I remember thinking after that conversation, because you do have, this
Mhm.
this new district and different things, new precincts
Mhm.
and things like that. And I thought, geez, I wish people could know Justin the way that
Mm.
I know him. And so that was part of what got me thinking about, well, why not do a video series and see if that's appealing to people? So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. My idea was, yeah, the pandemic has changed
Oh,
the way people do
yeah.
things, right? And people don't gather as much. The way people campaign during the pandemic had to change.
Mhm.
And with most things, video and Zoom and all of these things became so much more important and became a way for us to disseminate information and get in front of people that we were no longer gathering anymore. So that was part of what made
Right.
me think about doing this video series. I also have these two really good friends that one lives in Oklahoma and one lives in Canada. They got together and they started making their own podcast and they call it the Joy Project. And what the Joy
Hmm.
Project is talking about how as adults, we don't do a great job finding joy in our lives. We get into the adulting, we get into the responsibilities of things. And you know how you watch a child do something and they just have pure joy, play with a dog, play with a toy, blow
Mm.
bubbles and run around and catch the bubbles and that joy. And we don't have that as adults as much. And sometimes we get bogged down in responsibilities and we do lose the joy and stuff. But frankly, running for office can be hard and trying, and you never feel like you're enough places. You never feel like you've met enough people. It can be very stressful. And
Yeah.
I just want to send a big shout out to everyone who runs for office because you're putting yourself out there. You're really putting yourself out there. So I want to say that not just to you, but to everyone who runs for office. It's, a lot of hours, a lot of efforts, a lot of putting signs out and stuff.
Mm.
But let's try to find some joy in it too. I mean, you and I enjoy each other's company. What if we could have great
Yeah.
conversations and in the meantime, maybe educate folks a little bit about local politics or about what the Office of Justice of the Peace does and have some fun, get back to putting our own joy into things. So
Yeah.
I'm inspired by my friends, Candy and Becky, for that. Um, yeah, so that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today. You've had some health issues recently, and that was another reason why we decided that we
Yeah.
would do this. And so we're actually going to dedicate a whole episode of the video series to that. But it was another reason why you shift your priorities when your health becomes, something you're like, oh, I need to look at how I'm taking care of myself. And again, a lot of energy required to get out there and to campaign. So we're going to address that in the next episode, but it was one of the reasons why we decided to go this route as well. Just you could reach further through the computer screen than you could if you knocked on every single door in the county or in your precinct, which of course nobody can do that. So anyway, try to be smart about the way that we reach people.
But I just wanted to back up a little bit to initially because you were talking about, and I know I seem like I'm more approachable now, and it's interesting because when we did meet in 2014, I was still in law enforcement,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize it until I took office in 15, and about 2 weeks after I was in this position, I remember coming home and telling Mary, my wife, I said, Mary, I said, I had no idea how much stress I was under in law enforcement. I'd spent over 30 something years in the profession and I wore a uniform every day and I drove a marked police car. And it's a very stressful job because you never know what is around the corner. And so now, I don't have that same burden of worrying about not just my own safety, but everybody else's safety. you know, when I go to a restaurant or when I go to, not that I still don't do it, but I'm not tasked with doing it. And so
Yeah.
it's a whole different mindset. So
Yeah.
so yeah. So thank you for recognizing that as well. Like I said, I have as well.